He said what?
Did Buckingham Palace or Prince William set a trap for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and were they gullible enough to fall into it?
Again, I have to be careful what I say, but that I won't be able to show, my children my homeland.
Oh, darling, can you even believe how far this saga has spiraled? Meghan and Harry, once the shining, fresh, rebellious faces of royalty, are now the punchline of the global stage. It's almost laughable if it weren't so sad. These two, who once walked the palace halls with stars in their eyes, now make headlines for all the wrong reasons. Fame, fortune, freedom, they sought it all. But the world is watching and the whispers are getting louder. Every step, every word, every dramatic sigh, the cameras are there and the world is ready to pounce.
It is such a pleasure to be here in my new home of the UK.
What?
They walked away from royal life, didn't they? They claimed it was for privacy, for protection, but somehow, miraculously, they've racked up more interviews, more tell-alls, and more documentaries than any working royal in history. You have to pause and think, is this privacy or a carefully orchestrated parade? Because let's be real, a royal exit doesn't usually come with Netflix deals and podcast tours. That's a whole new level of attention.
When you have been lied about for a series of years, how hurtful that is.
Privacy. Oh, the irony. If you ask them, we need a break. Privacy. Apparently, it means milking every secret, every grievance, every tear for maximum exposure. And don't get me started on the public reactions, half cheering, half gasping, all glued to every word. This is a circus, and guess who's in the main ring? Meghan and Harry. The ringmaster, their own PR strategy.
Meghan is willing to show pictures of her kids. I think it just depends on how many zeros are at the end of the check.
Meghan marched into the royal family like she was about to rewrite centuries of tradition, like she could just waltz in and mold Buckingham Palace to her Netflix deals and Instagram posts. But surprise! The palace doesn't bend for ratings or celebrity clout. You can't just throw couture and charisma at a centuries-old institution and expect the rules to melt away. Ouch, right?
Meghan views those two children as commercial assets, which is gross and awful.
And poor Harry, once the cheeky, adored prince. Remember him? The one we all secretly wanted to see get away from royal strictness? Now he's playing sidekick in his own life story. Dragged onto California talk shows like someone who traded a crown for kombucha? Seriously, the irony is thick. He wanted freedom, but freedom came with its own chains. Chains made of cameras, deals, and constant judgment.
Meghan needs content.
It's really quite sad.
The tragedy of it all? They left supposedly to protect little Archie and Lilibet from royal scrutiny, from the glare of cameras. Yet when it suits the story, suddenly the kids are front-row stars in the narrative. Protection or plot device? Hard to tell when every gesture is captured, analyzed, and shared worldwide.
Prince William has had enough of Prince Harry's ludicrous claims.
It's wild. They've built this entire brand painting the palace as cold, outdated, cruel. And yet time and again they reach back, begging for acknowledgement, for recognition, for titles. It's like they want the palace to say, yes, you belong, while simultaneously undermining every rule that makes that palace what it is. Contradictions everywhere, like a perfectly dramatic soap opera.
Prince William will strip his exiled brother Prince Harry's children of their HRH titles when he becomes king.
But apparently for me, that doesn't matter.
Honestly, it's like watching someone throw a brick through a window and then politely ask for tea. Classic. Meghan crying one moment about royal struggles. The next, she's the humanitarian icon draped in couture gowns. Harry insists he's protecting the family's dignity while spilling every secret to the highest bidder. And for years, the palace remained silent watching, but that silence snapped. And when the revelations touched Archie and Lilibet, oh honey, it cut deeper than any staged interview ever could. What happens next? It's going to sting badly.
If she hasn't had the children herself, or Harry hadn't been involved, then they can't be in the royal line. They have to have royal blood, those little ones. Without that, there's no chance of them becoming a member of the royal family.
To really grasp the palace's moves, we have to rewind way back, over a century ago. 1917, King George V set in stone the rules. The letters patent, Who's a prince, who's a princess, who's in and who's out. These weren't designed to shame Harry's kids. They were designed to keep the monarchy orderly, to avoid chaos, favoritism, or Hollywood hijinks. Rules are rules. Royal bloodline, correct birth registration, Church of England acknowledgement, no exceptions, no celebrity loopholes. And this is where the drama explodes. Meghan and Harry, they treated royal titles like bonus points in a reality show game, Netflix specials, PR campaigns. That won't change history. The palace runs on precedent, tradition, and law, not vibes or Instagram followers. If they bend once for celebrity, where does it end? Every distant cousin or Hollywood spouse could claim a crown. Chaos, absolute chaos. And the palace? They will cannot bend. Order is their currency, and they're cashing it in like pros.
Meghan just wants to be an Instagram influencer. That has always been her level, always been her drive. Once everything else has been dried up, the kids are next. The kids were always on the docket to be part of the image selling and everything.
So what did Meghan and Harry do? They gambled. They bet their celebrity clout could pressure Buckingham Palace into rewriting history. Ha! The palace just looked at them and said, "Nice try, but reality check. Royalty isn't a brand you can repack. Forget your California mansion, your Spotify deals, your glossy magazine stories. Royalty, it's a system. One that doesn't care about fame, influence, or PR campaigns. And Archie and Lilibet, that system just slammed the door. Hard. Think back to Archie in 2019. A perfect storybook moment. Royal baby, smiles, celebrations. But then, the first curveball, the birth certificate, odd, mysterious, Meghan's legal name missing, replaced with Duchess of Sussex in some vague, grandiose sense. No precedent, no explanation. Diana, Kate, their names stayed. Why the change for Meghan? Palace command, personal choice, or a PR reframe? That small alteration? Pandora's box opened. Questions everywhere. Was Archie's place in the royal ledger secure? Or was the palace subtly saying, not so fast?
In this case, about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bump, the fact is, Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf. There was a complete cover-up over the birth of Prince Archie.
And then came Lilibet in 2021. Born in California, totally outside palace tradition. No balcony, no royal announcements, no official fanfare, just a press release. For a royal baby, this is seismic. Every royal birth for generations got ceremony, acknowledgement, and inclusion in the palace records. Lilibet? Nothing. Silence. This wasn't oversight, it was a statement. Recognition carries weight. By staying silent, the palace drew a line. Lilibet is your child, yes, but not part of our royal lineage. Sharp, cold, and crystal clear. Baptism in royal life isn't just a ceremony. It's history, tradition, Church of England, legitimacy, heritage, rolled into one sacred act.
Buckingham Palace is being pressured to remove Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet from the UK's royal line of succession until the Duchess provides absolute proof that she popped out both babies herself.
But for Lilibet, not in the palace's eyes. Sure, Meghan and Harry had their California celebrity baptism, friends, cameras, happiness, but no Church of England records, no official recognition. For the monarchy, that absence isn't small. It's massive. Every other royal baby, recorded, bound, tied into history. Lilibet? She floats in limbo, loved by parents, adored in Hollywood circles, invisible in royal tradition. The monarchy thrives on continuity. In that world, omission is as loud as disowning. In their eyes, her baptism was incomplete. And incomplete? In royal language, it means invalid. Meghan and Harry's persona rests on royal connection. Remove that, and what's left? Two former royals trying to survive in a world where relevance fades like the sunset over Montecito. Their billion-dollar brand, now shaky. Documentaries become reality confessions. Harry's memoir, once heartfelt, loses weight if the very institution he criticizes won't recognize his children. Titles missing? Suddenly, Archie and Lilibet aren't royal heirs. They're American kids, privileged but outside the royal story.
Meghan is using everything for publicity and not really truly there. We know how she treats her family and friends.
Far removed from the drama they were meant to symbolize. And Meghan, whose brand leans heavily on royal heritage? Devastation. Without her children's recognition, her legacy as a modern duchess, a global mother figure, crumbles. The palace has essentially yanked away the foundation on which she built her empire. Instead of power, now it's desperation. And in the royal world, perception is everything. Once the crown withdraws recognition, the illusion collapses. For Harry, personal heartbreak carved into stone. He pleaded behind palace doors, desperately seeking recognition for his children. Every appeal? Frosty. Rules over feelings. And the rejection? Crushing. He fought not just for acknowledgement, but for continuity, for keeping his children tethered to a family that shaped and scarred him. Friends describe him as torn, watching history close the gates on Archie and Lilibet while the world argued about belonging. This wasn't protocol, it felt like personal rejection.
William despises Harry and Meghan at this stage, and when he is king, his fury will rain down on them. He has absolutely no intention to allow Archie and Lilibet to use their HRH title.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't just about being less important. For Archie and Lilibet, it was about being erased. Gone from the official equation. Their names, headlines, yes. But the lineage, the Windsor dynasty, not a trace. Cold, heartless, maybe necessary? In the palace's view, absolutely. Preservation over sentiment, survival over feeling. Every monarchy move follows this rule. And in that world, silence can speak louder than any announcement. It's cruel, but the kids didn't ask for this. They were born into a world of rules and tradition that can't bend, no matter how famous their parents are. And now, the consequence of choices made by Harry and Meghan, it's theirs to carry. They'll grow up with love, privilege, and freedom, but also the weight of being heirs who weren't. The palace didn't whisper, it thundered its message. This is heritage, and heritage is not negotiable. And the impact? Think beyond headlines. Every gesture, every Instagram post, every charity appearance, none of it can rewrite the fact that Archie and Lilibet's royal identity has been legally and symbolically cut. Hollywood glamour doesn't touch centuries-old protocol. And for Meghan and Harry, it's a bitter pill, a personal and professional blow rolled into one. From Archie's birth certificate to Lilibet's unofficial baptism, every move the palace made screamed the same truth. Titles, recognition, and succession rights aren't rewards. They are laws etched in centuries of tradition, and when the palace enforces them, it's final. No interviews, no Netflix specials, no tearful speeches will change it. It's hard to watch. You can almost feel Harry's frustration, Meghan's disbelief, and the world's collective gasp. They left royal life thinking they could take the best of both worlds, freedom and privilege, celebrity and legacy. But the palace doesn't do compromise. You want to step out of royal life? Fine, but don't expect the rules to bend to your narrative. And their children? They became the battlefield for this clash. For a man who grew up in constant scrutiny, in the shadow of loss, exclusion, and public opinion, this rejection wasn't just about protocol. It was painful, personal, and permanent. Imagine watching the gates to history lock shut on your own children. Every plea Harry made, every private appeal behind palace doors, hit the cold wall of tradition. Rules are rules, and the palace doesn't negotiate. Not for feelings, not for celebrity, not even for love. And let's be real, the heartbreak is palpable. This isn't a small oversight. It's a statement carved into the DNA of the monarchy. And that statement, it echoes beyond California, beyond Netflix specials, beyond the glamorous world the Sussexes built. It's eternal. Archie and Lilibet may have loving parents, amazing opportunities, and the world at their feet, but they are missing something the palace deems far more crucial: inclusion in history. The contrast is sharp. While other royal children, from William's line down to Louis, are tied into centuries of ceremony, legacy, and spiritual lineage, Lilibet floats in limbo. Archie's recognition is complicated. Lilibet, she's practically invisible in terms of protocol. A Hollywood baptism might warm hearts, but in the eyes of the monarchy, it's irrelevant. The rules aren't sentimental, they are enforceable. And this is where the Sussexes' story hits its hardest emotional wall. Their children aren't just outsiders, they are outside history itself. Meghan's carefully curated identity as a modern duchess, a global mother figure, a humanitarian superstar, shaky now. Without her children's official acknowledgement, the foundation crumbles. What she built with charisma, charm, and bold public gestures depends on her link to royalty. Remove that, and the sparkle dims. The narrative of liberation, of stepping out on their own terms, now tangled with rejection, coldness, and an unyielding institution that refuses to bend. Harry's struggle? Heartbreaking. His fight wasn't about fame. It was emotional survival, continuity, and protecting his kid's place in the family he loves. Friends describe him as torn, frustrated, watching as centuries of law outweigh heartfelt pleas. And the palace? Unmoved. Law over love, structure over sentiment. The stakes weren't just professional, they were deeply personal. Watching the gates of history close on your children is an agony few can comprehend. With legal filings now confirming what everyone suspected, the palace has made it official. Archie and Lilibet are outside the royal framework. No titles, no succession rights, no privileges. In royal terms, this isn't a demotion, it's an erasure. The message is clear. Tradition isn't a game, and celebrity influence doesn't matter. To outsiders, it may seem harsh, even cold, but for the monarchy, it's survival. The children didn't choose this, yet the weight of their parents' decisions and the palace's centuries-old rules means they inherit a legacy they were never meant to claim. The irony? Meghan and Harry built empires on public fascination, spun narratives, and challenged traditions. But the palace stays untouchable. Their children are adored in the media, but invisible in official history. No titles, no ceremonies, no place in succession charts, just signatures and the finality of tradition. Heritage is enforced, not negotiated. So, did Meghan and Harry truly understand the system they faced? Or did they think fame could rewrite centuries of order? The answer is brutal and final, and yet the world can't look away. Drama in the royal family never ends. Archie and Lilibet may grow up loved and free, but in royal history, their legacy remains a blank page. Remains a blank page. Remains...